everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. We are really going to do Friday up today, though. We have with us a really great guest today, and before we get into that, you know Greg over there, and I'm Rafia, and our guest today is our good friend Rob Eiseman, and he is going to tell us a lot about drinking. A lot. He's a sommelier, and he also teaches wine classes.
That's correct.
So he's going to tell us all about this, and he's brought a few wine glasses as well as wine, and he's poured himself a little bit of wine.
We've been here since 9 o'clock this morning. We're ready now.
Not that long.
Well, the good news is it's International Rosé Day. So.
Oh, okay. That's why he's drinking the rosé.
I got a couple cards. I wasn't sure what that was for.
If you guys have questions, please put it into the comment section, and someone will read them out loud for you.
Yeah,
and we will answer the questions. So let's get Rob into the hot seat. Start with, how long have you been a sommelier?
Technically about 15 years.
What made you become a sommelier?
So,
What is a sommelier? Why don't we start with that?
Okay.
great question. So a sommelier is the person that is really going to try to make you have the best wine experience you can for different reasons, right? Could be the wine that you've chosen, the glasses that are presented, the food that you're going to eat, the way that the dinner is set up. There's just so many variables that go into having a great wine experience, and it's a sommelier's job to make sure that that experience is what you really, really were hoping for.
Okay.
And now, why did you become a sommelier?
So about 25 years ago, I was at Trader Joe's, and I watched this gentleman who had to be in his 70s ask the produce clerk to recommend a bottle of wine. And what unfolded was this really interesting dynamic between this very young kid who did his absolute best and this gentleman who knew absolutely appeared nothing about wine. And so what started to resonate in my mind was there's so many people out there that don't have an opportunity to learn about wine in a proper setting. And so generally, what do people do? They ask other people for an opinion, whether those people have any experience or not. So from that experience at Trader Joe's, I thought, I've been into wine for a long time, and I decided to create a wine program that would allow people to learn about wine in a very fun, relaxing environment where it could be as simple as what happens when you go into a wine shop, or what happens when you go into a restaurant, terms that you might hear. And people will walk away from these different classes that I teach with a basic understanding and hopefully a comfort zone to be able to take the wine menu, to be able to walk into the wine shop and just have the conversation with people without feeling like they're asking questions they know nothing about.
It's almost like an art form,
It
to
can be.
really learn about the kind of the different kinds of wine, how to pair it with different foods, and even chocolates.
No, absolutely. And what's fascinating for me, and one of the things I talk about is the history of wine. As people were coming up through the centuries, people ate and drank what was around them. And so when wine started to evolve more into a commercial business, and it started taking off from old world, Europe, to the new world, everywhere else, people just started to understand different components of wine and branch off into what they considered to be the fun aspect, the serious aspect, the educational aspect, and bringing it all together to make sure that the wine that you're pouring, the people that you're with, the glasses, and as I said before, all these different variables come together. And so my ultimate goal is to allow people just to have the greatest experience they can with a wine.
When you teach these classes, do you go to them? Do they gather the people together and then you go and teach the class, or how does that work?
So currently I work at a wine bar where
Okay.
we teach wine classes. I teach introductory wine classes where it's 3 white wines, 3 red wines in a bag, all single varietals. We go over 35 terms. There's some nibbles that are paired with that. It's about a 2 to 3 hour class just to give the basics. I just finished teaching a port wine class. I've done food and wine pairing classes on glasses, I mean, it's endless. It really is. There's just so much to know and so little time.
I'm going to keep interrupting every once in a while to tell everybody, if you just joined us, we're talking to Rob, and he is a sommelier. He also teaches wine classes. If you have questions, please put them into the comments, and I will periodically keep doing that. For all of you who just joined us, thank you for joining. Please put your comments and questions into the comment section. Jeannie back there will read them all out, okay? All right, so continuing, so sommelier and the teaching of the classes. So you've been a sommelier for 15 years. What's your favorite part of being a sommelier? What do you enjoy most out of this?
Absolutely. My favorite part is when I see the look on people's faces when they get it, when they feel comfortable, when they start asking questions that they wouldn't normally have asked previously.
Okay.
Because really, wine is one of the only commodities I know where people get nervous. Right? You go into a restaurant, or I'll just say this, I go into a restaurant with my friends, who gets the wine menu?
You do?
Right? Because I speak the language. And so when people start asking me questions, or people start having what we call aha moments, that makes me feel really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the people that have started with the introductory class have continued on, brought their friends, and it's just so much fun. And of course you're drinking wine, so as you drink more wine, yeah,
It's one of those classes that's very enjoyable.
it can be. I mean, and I'm sure there's a cutoff. I haven't found that yet, but it's just meeting new people, hearing their stories. We talk about travel because I travel a lot, and for me, it's just a great time all around to see people having a wonderful time.
Do we have questions?
Not yet, but I'll ask one. You used the term single varietals. Do you want to tell people what that means?
Right. So anytime a wine is considered a single varietal, it's just that one grape as opposed to a blend. So I did bring some wines here as examples from around the world, some of my favorite producers. This is a bottle of Chablis. So it says Chablis because it's from Chablis, France. Chablis is 100% Chardonnay, and that's the rule. You can't have a Chablis without being Chardonnay. Some other wines, so I have another one of my favorite wineries from Paso Robles is Alta Colina. This is 100% Petit Syrah. And so when I say single varietal, it's just the one grape that is in that bottle of wine.
Only one kind.
Correct, one
Only
variety
kind.
of
Okay.
grape, yeah.
And so, how does it become a rosé to a white to a dark red?
Great question. So the red wines get their color from the skins.
Okay.
So what they do is you crush the grapes, and then the skins have what are called anthocyanins, which are the pigments in the grape skin.
Okay.
And the more those anthocyanins skins are in contact with the juice, the darker the wine's going to become. So a rosé is in contact with the skin grapes, but just not as long.
Okay.
That's why the color isn't as dark as, say, this Petit Syrah, which is a very very small berry. It's not a Syrah. It's a completely different variety.
Which bottle?
This bottle here.
Okay.
Right. And then the white wines it's the white juice.
So is also the wine? I don't drink, guys. Okay, I've never drank, so I don't mean to ask questions that might be obvious, but it's not obvious to me. So does that rosé taste lighter than the darker red?
And that's a great question. And so different types of wine are going to have different flavor profiles, right?
Okay.
And so we can also define wines, are they light-bodied, medium-bodied, or full-bodied?
Okay.
So the analogy I use is non-fat milk,
2%.
whole milk, or 2%, or half and half.
Okay.
Right, and then it's based on the mouthfeel. So generally, a sparkling wine is going to be a lighter-bodied wine, as opposed to a Petit Syrah, which is going to be a fuller, bolder mouthfeel, like the half and half. Or the
Okay.
cream.
I have a question. I used to drink wine like when I was in high school and college. When did they start putting corks in them? They used to have the twist off.
Well, actually, the twist off came after the corks, right? So the twist off is actually
Fascinating.
fairly new.
We do have some questions.
Yes.
We do. Carolyn asks, is there a particular country that has the best wine?
So, no,
Really?
because every country that I've been to has phenomenal wines. And so I did. I brought a representative example from Paso Robles, one of my favorite wineries, Alta Colina. Again, French Chablis. We have a Slovenian Merlot. And I brought one of my all-time favorite new Barolo producers from northern Italy, from Piemonte. And so in all the countries I've been in around the world, it's not been a question so much of finding really good wines, because I love them all. But as I tell people, it's better to have great company and okay wine than great wine and okay company. And so I'm generally not drinking alone. I'm with other wine lovers, but on their own, wines from all over the world, there's some great producers everywhere.
You hear a lot about French wine. I mean, for some reason, people talk about wine coming from France. Is that a big deal? I mean, is it that much better than other places?
Well, it's funny you brought that up, because the Judgment of Paris, which was the blind tasting where the two California wines, the white wine from Chateau Montelena and the red wine from Stag's Leap, won this contest, this blind tasting contest.
I do.
And so so the French were the standard per se, because they hadn't been challenged, and now all of a sudden you have these upstart Americans who made these award-winning wines, or won this championship, and so. It's not that France isn't making great wines, it's just that there are so many countries making great wines now.
Excellent.
So Andrea is saying, is the video frozen? Anybody else watching? Is it frozen to anybody?
Can you see me drinking?
I hope we're not frozen. If you just joined us, yours is okay? All right. So if you just joined us, we're talking to Bob Eiseman today, and he is a sommelier, and he's telling us all about the different wines. If you have questions, please put it into the comments, and we will read them out loud.
Jeff has one, kind of a social etiquette question. A friend comes to your place for dinner and brings what they feel is a nice bottle of wine, but you know otherwise. It is crap. Do you suck it up and drink it? Or break the bad news to your friend that you refuse to drink their drink gutter swall?
Oh my God.
I've got to go. Thank you very much, everybody. But it's a great question, and it's happened before. So it's really based on a couple factors. One, how friendly are you with this person, right? If it's someone you really don't know, or maybe they're just a new acquaintance and they're bringing you a gift, then you might say something like, wow, thank you very much. I know that you chose this bottle special. I want to save this for a special occasion. And then that way, you're not embarrassing that person, but you're also acknowledging the fact that they did bring a gift for you. If it's someone who you know really well, then they're probably not going to bring, they'll probably ask you in advance, hey, so as an example, my roommate's a chef. And this is how our conversations go. So Rick will say, hey, I'm cooking hunter stew. Okay, what does it taste like? Great, I got the wine for that. Or I'll say, hey, I've got this new wine. These are the flavors, and then he'll cook something. But again, for the person who's bringing the wine as a gift, it just depends on that level of comfort you have with that person. But a safe way to just exclude that wine from the meal is just thank them that it's a special bottle and you're going to save it for another occasion.
Well, that's a very tactful way to handle it. But what if they want to open it?
Then open it.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no rule against opening the wine, even if you know. So I'll give you an example. I was teaching this wine class, and this person said, I love Tubac Choc. And I said, great. Because everyone's flavor profile is different. Yeah. And so what I explain to people is, there is a wine for everyone. And if I may share this story.
Of course.
Please.
So I had just taught an introductory wine class at the wine bar. And a couple comes in afterwards, and we're sitting down and we're talking. And I always ask people some questions. And so the wife says, I love sweet wine. I love dessert wines. Great. I have this amazing Italian Moscato. Take a sip. She said, that's it. Husband, I hate wine. Okay. He goes, I'm a beer drinker. Okay, so I pour him a beer. And I have this conversation. I said, well, what is it about wine you don't like? And he said, well, I hate it because I tried Merlot once. And I said, oh, have you tried any other wines? He said, no. So I said, something that I learned from someone else, do you drink coffee? Yes, I love iced coffee with vanilla syrup. Do you drink tea? I love hot tea with lemons. I said, okay, so you like it a little bit sweet, but you like acid too. Well, it turns out that one of the wines I used in the wine class was new to me that day. It was an Italian Chardonnay that was a little sweet and had great acid. So I poured him a little, took a sip. He goes, "Oh, that's not bad." I said, "That's to clear the beer out of your mouth." He takes another sip. He said, "I'll buy the bottle." And his wife looks at me and says, "I don't know who that is." And so this is my expectation, is that you never give up on a person until you find the wine that gives them that moment of, wow, this is really good. And it could be wine with food, could be wine with appetizers, could be
Right.
different type of wine.
Right. Absolutely.
Sure. Rick asks, what's your favorite or most memorable wine experience?
That's actually personal and private, so I won't get into that.
Maybe that's why he asked.
I have several. Thank you very much. So, I travel a lot, and oftentimes when people find out that I teach wine classes or I'm in the wine business, and we start having a conversation, they open up their cellars. So I was just in Italy, in Piemonte, in Alba, and we were at a winery, and I was asking a question about history. So in the 1960s, there was this revolution in this area of Barolo. Someone created a map defining what the best vineyards were. And so I was asking about, does anyone here have any institutional memory of that? Well, the owner, or the woman who was putting on the presentation, the uncle knows about that. So he looks at us and goes, "Don't speak English." And he walks away. Okay. Comes back about 10 minutes later, speaks perfect English. And he was a character.
It's good wine.
But it's a great wine. And in the course of the conversation, he said, "Hold on a second." And he pulled out a special bottle of wine. And we just looked at him, and we're going through this wine, and it was just a great experience. And I've had so many of those over my life. I've been drinking wine legally for 45 years, and I've been traveling the world for over 40. And so people are very, very excited to share their products, and they share those with me.
If you guys just joined, we're talking to Rob Eiseman, and he's a sommelier. If you have questions, please put it into the comments, and we will answer them for you. So, I noticed that you brought all these glasses.
I did.
So, does it make a difference what glass you drink what out of?
Yeah, that's a great question.
No, it's an absolutely fantastic question. And the simple answer is absolutely. Different wines have different chemical processes in terms of how they present themselves from the glass. And so, as an example, when I was just in Alba, in Piemonte, I had an opportunity to use this glass. It is made specifically for the wine called Barolo. It's an Italian glassmaker called Italese, and my friends and I, we fell in love with these glasses, and we found where they were being sold, so we brought a whole bunch back. The reason these glasses, the types of glasses are important, because they're designed, they're designed scientifically now to allow for the best representation of the aroma and how the wine goes into your palate,
Very
especially under your tongue.
So I'm noticing that this is way wider in the bottom, and then it goes.
But feel the glass. It's extremely.
It's very light.
Yeah.
Very light, and it goes skinnier at the top. So does that mean that when you're pouring the wine here, that it has a more of an opportunity to spread out?
Exactly, to open up.
Okay.
But then those aromas are directed up through the
Right.
narrower opening. And so different glasses. So the Barolo glass, this is a Pinot Noir glass. Right?
Okay.
Here we have a Cabernet Merlot glass. And see, because big bold wines like lots of space to open up.
Okay.
And then here we have Chardonnay glass.
Okay.
And so just different styles. There's many different wine glass makers. And everyone has a preference. It's not right or wrong. I just happen to feel like I love Barolo, and so bought a bunch of these, but I just think it's an absolutely beautiful stem.
It really is.
And
It's
we
really
call them stems.
beautiful.
And so, yeah, it's important.
I love the shape of it.
Yeah,
That's really
And
cool.
it's very light, and the stem is actually really skinny too, real very thin.
and they're delicate. So they do break, and it's unfortunate. You know, it's, I don't want to say money down the drain, but
No.
you know, over time, glass becomes brittle, right? It fatigues.
Yeah.
And so at some point, the glass is going to break. The good news is I'm going back to Italy in a few months, so I'm going to buy more.
Yeah.
The Pinot glass and the Chardonnay glass are so similar but different. Is it because the Pinot one, is it shaped that way for the benefit of the nose because it has more of a nose than a Chardonnay does?
So it's, yes, in part. So the shape of the bowl is again determined by the type of grape that's being put into it. And so Pinot Noir being a very soft, gentle, aromatic type of grape uses this type of bowl because it's again creating this fume or plume of aromas that you want to hit certain parts of your nose or your mouth and through your nose. The Chardonnay glass, obviously, it's not as tapered from the middle part, but it's also because it's got a larger diameter, right? Because the science of how these grapes evolve up from the glass just provides that much better of an experience. Now, again, some people will not notice the difference right away. It just takes time. But when I teach the wine classes, I want everyone to have the best possible experience, so they're going to get different types of glasses.
Do you
for
bring
those.
your glasses to the wine class then?
No, well, we have the different types of stems. They're also called stems. We provide all of those. If it's a private event, then I'll go ahead and bring the stems, or if people have stems.
Okay.
But also, you know, I don't want people to be dissuaded or put off by, oh, I don't have the right glass. Well, sometimes you just have the glass you have,
Right.
and that's okay too.
And that's okay too.
One of our viewers asks, what's the best wine to go in my Flintstones grape jelly jar?
Ooh, the one you don't want to share with anyone else. I mean, seriously, one of the biggest focuses I have with wine is to reduce people's anxiety about it. And so, you want to put it in a Flintstones jar? Hey, have a great time with it, right? It's your choice. Again, I want you to have the best experience with the wine. So, whatever you want to do, have a great time.
Vicky is asking, do you host wine tastings for local people?
Absolutely. I just have to ask, I'd ask them a few questions. What's the event for? What's the desired outcome? How many people? There's a lot of questions that go into it because I want to, again, make sure that people have the best experience.
What's the most people that can be in a class? Because it's kind of difficult, I would think,
Right.
after a certain number.
Yeah, so 12 is, for me, the absolute maximum. I've done more, but the reason is because in a bottle of wine, you can get 12 2-ounce pours.
Okay.
And so with more than that, then it becomes a little bit more difficult to give equal amounts. But 12 is a good number, just again because 12 pours, 2 ounces each, perfect.
And how many bottles do you bring to do the wine tasting?
So it depends on what we're doing, right? If I'm doing an introductory class, excuse me, I do 3 whites and 3 reds in bags because I don't want someone to go, oh, Chardonnay, I know Chardonnay. Right? I want people to not have any preconceived notions or predetermined judgments about the wines they're going to try.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, if you just joined us, we are talking to Rob. He is a sommelier. He also teaches wine classes. I believe some of these questions probably got answered, like he does teach the classes. I saw that as a question. Is there a particular, and about the wine glasses, we talked about that already. So those are all good. Any other new ones that you see?
I see, is there a wine for any food on the planet?
Yeah, Carolyn asked that. That's a great question.
It is a great question. And I'll say it this way. I have not found a food that doesn't have a wine to go with it. And so one of the things I do when I teach the food and wine pairing classes is I try to be as bizarre as possible. So one class was right after Thanksgiving. So I paired cranberry sauce with German Riesling. And this girl raised her hand. She goes, well, I just want you to know I don't like Riesling and I don't like cranberry sauce, but together these are amazing.
Ah,
And so, oftentimes, there's some simple rules, right? Sweet goes with sweet. If you want to do steak and a high tannin wine like Cabernet, things like that. But I try to be a little bit different. So I did a barbecue chicken pizza with 2 Italian reds, and they were fantastic. So, yeah, just experiment with it.
you got one more?
Other than these private events you host, where do you teach? You mentioned a wine bar. What wine bar is that?
Right. So it's actually a little bit north of here in a town called Tehachapi, where I used to have a home. It's called La Bodega de Castillo, and I can only say that if you're ever in the area or passing through, you need to stop by this wine bar. Not only because of the great wine selection and the people, my friends they're amazing people, but we had a wine rep walk in and stop at the door, and he just looked around for about 5 seconds, and I said, "You've never seen a place like this before?" And he said, "I've been doing this 12 years. I have an area of 1,000 square miles. He goes, I've never seen a place this beautiful before."
Wow.
Because the theme was based on our friend Ron, who used to live in Europe and learned to cook in northern Spain, the Basque Country. And he would go to these wine bars and he fell in love with them. And so it literally looks like you're walking into a wine bar in Spain or in Argentina or Chile. And as I say to people, take a vacation and never leave Tehachapi.
How often do you do the classes?
I'm trying to do classes every couple of months. It's just been a little bit more difficult with my travel schedule because I'm traveling 6 to 8 times a year out of the country.
Okay, and if someone wants to take the classes, how do they get hold of you?
You can just send me an email. It's winelifer, WINELIFER @gmail.com, and I can absolutely come to people's homes. That's not a problem either.
Yeah, so you probably have like different tiered prices for
Exactly.
however many wines you're
Right.
doing and how many hours and all
Yeah,
that. Okay.
exactly. I mean, some people just want to learn about a particular wine, right? And that's fine too.
Speaking of that, Angelus asked, what are some of your favorite Italian wines?
Well, it's funny. We have one of my favorite Italian wines right here. So this is Barolo. It's from a producer named Bertzi in Lamora, which is part of Piemonte. It's a brother and sister. He's the winemaker. I discovered them through another wine friend and had the opportunity to visit them in March of this year. They are one of my favorite Barolo producers right now. I shipped back a lot of their wines because they're that good. It just depends what region, right? So,
And that's the wine that you said would go in that glass.
correct,
Right? Okay.
correct. The thing I'm real thankful for is that I was blessed with an opportunity and an ability to love all wine. So, there's thousands of different grape varieties in Italy. When I lived in Portugal, thousands of grape varieties in Portugal. Again,
When was the first time you ever had wine?
like most adults, I started when I was 4 years old.
Ah.
Right. Because it was my parents, religious reasons. And then as I grew up and started experiencing wines, and people would give me different wines, it was the $5 bottle, then the $10 bottle, and then $20 bottle, and so on and so forth. I just started to appreciate wine for what it was, but then I became curious about the history of wine and the social aspect, and so that's why I started traveling.
I have a question. A lot of people, when we talk about wines that are a certain year, why is a certain year of the same wine better than another year? Why is last year's better than this year, so to speak?
Yeah,
How do you
absolutely.
keep track of that?
And also, can a wine eventually be too old that it's not drinkable anymore?
Let me go to the last question first.
Also,
Yes.
I ask it,
Yes. There are wines where they can be aged for a long time, but again, there's 3 things that are not good for wine: sunlight, lack of humidity, and temperature. And so how the wine is stored after bottling is really critical to the longevity of the wine. So I opened up a birth year wine, 1961. Great year for Barolo, and it was fantastic. And I opened that in 2019. So the age of the wine is dependent in large part by those three factors and how it's stored. But there are some wines that are not made to be aged for long periods of time. And so some of the Barolos, the 2021s, 2019s, are easy drinking. They're great right now. So back to your original question about certain vintages, well, it's just like the rain, right? So a few years ago we had the largest snowpack and our water, levels rose and things were fine. Now we're in a drought again. And so grapevines are affected by those same things, right? Is there hail? Is there enough rain? Is there enough sunshine? Is all of these factors that go into the grapes growing are affected by all the variables that go into what's called the terroir, right? So all the sunlight, the water, the soils, the everything. So yeah, some years are better for growing than other years. How do you know that? Well, for someone who reads a lot, studies a lot, has wine charts on my phone, that's what I do. I just want to find it. And then I talk to the winemakers, and they're real open about their experiences. One year in Barolo was so bad, they didn't even allow any of the wines to be produced.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
as a consumer, how would I know the difference? When I go in and I see a 1978 or a 83, how do I know it's good or?
You talk to a friend who knows a little bit about wine.
All right, I'll find it.
Just a little. He doesn't drink it anyway.
Nah, I'm just curious.
But even if you don't drink, maybe
If
you
I
want.
buy it for somebody and they drop dead, I'm not gonna feel good.
Did
about
you ever drink wine, Greg?
Yeah.
You did?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Yeah, but I'm curious to know. I guess there are connoisseurs, obviously, like yourself, that know the difference. But then when you go into a store, 'cause I used to buy wine as kids, I still do sometimes. And you go in and I have no way of knowing.
There's three things that sell a bottle of wine for the non-wine people. One is the label. That's the number one thing that sells wine. At least that's what I've read. Second thing is the price, and the third thing is someone gave it a score, right? And so, for me, again, teaching the introductory class, teaching those different classes, so that people can ask the questions, that they won't be so nervous or they won't be so afraid or wonder whether or not the information they're getting is accurate or just sounds a little off. So again, back to Trader Joe's. I just had a great conversation with a salesman at Trader Joe's, and he was spot on. We had
stuff.
Yeah, he was stuff. It was great. But again, how do you know? You ask questions. But I want people to ask questions with some background information.
Elaborating on that a little further, are there some places around here locally that are good places to buy wine where the salespeople are knowledgeable that you would recommend?
Absolutely. And I don't get paid for any of this, but this is, I want you all to have a great experience with wine. First one that pops into my head is Stanley's Wet Goods on Venice Boulevard in Culver City. John Stanley is the owner. He and his crew are they're wonderful people. They too want to ensure that you have the best experience you can with the wines that you're going to purchase or even try at the store.
What he's talking about is where the old Balian Market was. Right next to it is this Stanley's.
Yeah.
I always see a lot of people outside there.
Yeah, it's and they have food. I mean, it's not a restaurant per se, but they have a great wine selection from all over the world. They have beers and spirits too. And I used to brew beer, so I'm not anti-beer. And they're just good people. And so I really enjoy Stanley's. K&L is also now in Culver City.
Right.
They're really spot
They're on
on.
Sepulveda and Culver.
Right. It just depends where you live, but generally you can just Google wine shops and you'll find something, right? So if you're in the South, maybe Wine Exchange, Spectrum Wine in Santa Ana. A lot of the higher end wine shops are legit wine shops, I should say, that have been around for a long time, established. They'll have people that know what they're talking about.
There's
That's a good question.
Like
Thank you,
Ralph's,
Carolyn.
Like Ralph's or Ron's, is there any chance that you're going to get a good bottle of wine there? Because they do have a large selection.
Right. So the secret was out. Ralph's used to have these incredible sales where you would buy a case of wine. They did it once a month. You'd buy a case of wine and you would get not just the 30% off, but you'd get an additional 10% off the 30%. So it worked out to be about 37% off. I can't tell you how many exceptional bottles of wine I bought. For those of you who know wine, there's a wine called Sassicaia. It's a Super Tuscan from Bulgari. I think I paid $180 a bottle, and some of those bottles are now over $400. So Ralph's isn't doing that as much anymore. I've got some great champagnes from them. You know, unbelievable prices. But you know, going to a traditional store or grocery market is going to be a little bit tough if you don't know what you're looking for.
Now, once you've bought your wine, Andrea asks, I heard you can't keep wine once it's open for more than 5 days, even refrigerated.
That's
Do you
a
want
great question.
to teach us about
Thank
that?
you, Andrea.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, variables, right? So what type of wine is it, right? How much has been taken out of the bottle? Because once the bottle is opened, it's already beginning to be oxidized by the air. Some wines are meant to be opened, and so they can be really what's called tannic, right? And so they can be in the fridge for extended periods of time. Could be 5 days. I don't know. It just depends on the wine. Depends how you're storing the wine as well. Some people have a system where they put gas in, like argon gas, and then it'll save the wine. The other thing about a refrigerator per se, like a food refrigerator, they're a little bit tricky because number one, temperature's super low, but they're also very dry. So remember, wine with corks, they like humidity, right? So before you open the wine, if you're storing it in a wine refrigerator, yeah, that's okay for a short amount of time, but I wouldn't store long term. But again, once you open the wine, depending on what the wine is, you know, the reality is on the third, fourth, fifth day, you'll know.
It's a great question because some people live alone and they're not going to sit down and drink a whole bottle of wine.
Exactly.
They're going to open it up, take a couple of glasses, and then now what? Is it still good?
Right.
So,
Right.
Great question.
So this is a great question.
That was Andrea.
And this goes back to an experience I had with my oldest sister. She loves Pinot Noir, and we were out for my birthday, and I bought a bottle of Pinot Noir, and she said, "This is the absolute best bottle of Pinot Noir I've ever had in my life." And I said, "Well, this is a $200 bottle of Pinot Noir." And she said to me, and this is to Greg's point, she said, "I would buy this bottle of wine if I had friends that drank wine." She said, "But I'll have a glass, and then what do I do?" So what I said to her is, buy a wine where you feel like if you have a glass or even 2 glasses, and that's enough, you're not worried about the cost. Because you can go to a restaurant and they'll charge you, let's say $15 for a glass of wine. So I can rationalize anything, especially with wine. So if I go to Costco, they have some really great deals on wines. So if I buy a bottle of wine for $20 and I only have 2 glasses, okay, then it was $10 a glass.
Also, if you have a dog or a cat, you can just pour it in the bowl. Maybe not.
This is not being seen by the ASPCA or anything.
Okay, so going along with this thing that Andrea is asking, I have a question about the twist offs. Okay, so does this apply to that as well? So since you can close that up tightly, it still applies?
It does, because you now open the wine to air.
Okay.
Right? Even though there's a little bit of air in the wine still, it's a sealed system.
Okay, and what about those ones that have like a needle kind of thing that you put into the cork,
Right.
and you can only like serve one glass, and so you're not taking the cork out? What about those?
Those are fantastic. It's called a corrigan, and what they do is they allow you to extract the wine without compromising the cork.
So those you can keep for long?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There's a caveat. So once you get down to a certain point in the bottle, it doesn't work anymore. So it's good for maybe a half bottle, maybe a little bit more, but at some point, right, the needle's going to go past the level of the wine. Right?
Okay.
So if the wine's down to here, and the needle is only going down to here,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, it's not
you know,
effective.
it's not affecting as much. So, you know, nothing's perfect. So I just tend to drink with people who will fish
So
along.
the moral of the story is, when you open a bottle of wine, make sure you have some friends around to share it with.
But
Just sharing.
so the twist offs, they have like a gallon. They have the giant ones. And when you open that, I mean, that's it. It's a waste of a lot of wine.
Rick had a good answer. He said, save the wine to cook with.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So, but you know, there's a lot of different view. Well, let me rephrase that. So there's camps for everything, right? So there's people who say, don't cook with what you won't drink, and then some people say, no, just go ahead and cook with it. There's some people who say, don't worry about food and wine pairing, and then some people say, they say, eat what you like, drink what you like, and then other people who say, no, you should pair your food with your wines. Again, to me, at some point, wine becomes a personal experience, and that should be your experience, no one else's. It's just my hope to help you get there.
Okay. Great.
Okay, and then there's another question.
Carolyn asks, do you have a class for just champagne?
Ooh.
There's a class for
Good
everything.
question, Carolyn.
And yeah, I love champagne. It's a friend of mine, who I met through wine, really became the impetus for me to delve more into champagne. And so it's been a fun journey, and I'm looking forward to it.
So, Prosecco, champagne. I have a friend who loves Prosecco, and that's her thing. Is that just sparkling wine, or what is?
Right.
How did they make that?
Right. So Prosecco is a sparkling wine. So yeah, there's two types of sparkling wines. Right. Well, and I'll put this all together. There's wines that are made like champagne, in the champagne style, which is double fermentation. This is a Cremant. Okay, this is from Alsace. So it's made like champagne, but because it's not from Champagne, you can't call it
that.
champagne.
Okay.
Just like Chablis, it's 100% Chardonnay. You don't call it anything other than Chablis. And so the other method is what's called the Charmant or tank method, where everything's fermented in the tank and then put into the bottle, ready to go.
Huh.
So different regions produce sparkling wines in different ways, but I love, there's some phenomenal Proseccos out there, just like Cava, right? So Cava is from Spain. There's Franciacorta, there's Champagne, there's Cremant, there's sparkling wine, California sparkling wine. I mean, people are even now in England. The climate's changing, so they're able to produce sparkling wine now too. So
Interesting.
it's just whether or not they make it in the champagne style or it's called the tank method.
Okay, there's more questions.
Jeff asks, or rather states, I love red wine, yet when I drink many Cabernets, I tend to get congested. What's up with that?
Great question. So the current research is you're having a histaminic reaction, like an allergic reaction. And so the current research literature that I've read says just take a non-drowsy antihistamine about an hour before. Now, one of the things too is that there are, I'm trying to now remember the exact number, but it's upwards of 60 different chemicals that can be in California wine. And I don't know if maybe trying a wine from the European wine might have a different
It might
effect.
be different, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
I have a question similar to that. As one ages, sometimes it's harder to metabolize wine and feel great the next day, like when one was in their 20s. Do you have any recommendations for people like that?
So friendships are really important in that regard, to share the wine. That's the first thing. Second thing is you drink water, right? So the rule of thumb is for every glass, drink a glass of water. Glass of wine, glass of water.
Christine says, let's move on to Carolyn says, years ago there were promotions saying that wine in a box is going to be fantastic. Did it ever get to that point?
Box wine is the #1 selling wine in the world.
Is it fantastic?
Again, better to have great company and okay wine than great wine and okay company. Again, it's personal. Like when the person said, "I love 2 Buck Chuck," great. It's not for me to tell you what you should like.
Right.
It's for me to open the door for you to experience different things that you may like.
Right.
So Christine's wanting to know, can screw top wines be okay? And what's your opinion on screw top wines versus cork?
And there's a lot of research going on with that right now. To me, screw top, cork, I'm fine. Great wines are great wines.
Really?
But what they did was they did a tasting. All of these super high-end wine critics and tasters got together, and they were doing corks versus screw tops. And what they did was they found some wines actually, in their opinion, tasted better with the screw top than other wines, but some wines with corks tasted better than with screw tops. Again, I think at this point it's getting into those details that really aren't going to matter to the 99.999% of wine drinkers. right? And so
That's a good point.
I have some Australian screw top wines that are worth hundreds of dollars a bottle, and they're fine.
So wine in a box is not considered cheap wine per se.
Well, again, back
think
to the friends part. You know,
I think it is, but I think what he's saying
Yeah,
it's a big seller.
Let me try this another way. Is there any expensive box wine right yet? You said they're testing it.
no. But again, expensive is relative.
I don't have any friends, so I can't try this.
I'll be your friend.
All right,
I have wine too.
That's all right.
So-
Let me play you the little violin right now.
It's okay. You can play
Well,
it.
in that case, let me pour myself a little bit more.
Drink up.
Yeah. So the thing is that that's a relative term, right? Is it expensive? It's not expensive. You know, for me, that $200 bottle of Pinot that I shared with my sister is an expensive bottle of wine for her,
Yes.
right? It's just the experiences I've had with wine. I'm willing to make that expense because I know I'm going to have a great time, or hopefully going to have a great time with that wine. But a box wine, let's say the box wine's $15, $20, and you're sharing it among friends, and it's just my opinion. But after, let's just say the four of us are having some wine. After the first bottle, we're going to be on to other things in terms of conversation, in terms of food, and then the wine might become secondary. But I go to a lot of wine events, I go to a lot of wine dinners, and the focus is the wine.
Okay.
And so again, it's situational. So is it a cheap wine? I don't know. If you like it, I mean, I have bottles in my cellar that I paid $15 for that I think are phenomenal. They're easy drinking. Like, I don't worry if I have one glass, two glasses. And then there's bottles in my cellar that are worth hundreds of dollars that I will open with people who I know are going to appreciate them, or for special occasions, special wine dinners and things like that. Because I go to a lot of wine themes, right? So it's a champagne theme or it's a Barolo theme. I'm actually, Rick and I are going to be putting together a Bubbles and Barolo lunch.
And never a box theme.
You're getting my curiosity piqued about that. That might be something for me to look into.
Well, I have learned a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Will I retain it all? I'm not sure.
It's really good. No, it's fascinating information. What do you want people to know? Just take a minute. And what would you like people to know about wine and what you do?
Right. So,
Don't buy a box of wine.
no. Buy whatever you want. Look, what I want you to know is it's a commodity that is meant to be enjoyed and meant to be shared. And there shouldn't be any hesitance or reluctance in asking questions and looking for something that you think either you're going to like or the person that you're going to share it with is going to like. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to do your research, because Google has a lot of information. And the other thing I would say is, this is just for me personally, because I do drink a lot. That didn't sound right. Because I've been involved with wine for a long time, I'm not so much affected by the labels or the scores or the price. But again, it's just wine. It's something to be enjoyed. It's something to be shared. And that's really what I want you to come away with. The rest of it, it'll take care of itself.
Very good.
And I think you have two less, Carolyn and Andrea. It seems that CC Biz has a certain demographic that leans towards screw tops and boxes. Thanks, Carolyn.
It's kind of where I was getting at. All right.
Yeah, again, there's some wine for everyone, whether it's in a box or in a bottle, whether it's a cork or a screw top. It's all good.
All right.
And then Andrea is the last one. Some people prefer beer too, and among those, there's a variety of opinions on what is good beer. True.
Yeah, it's just like wine.
True.
And again, I used to brew beer, so
I mean, there, anything that you make or drink or cook or whatever, there's going to be, difference of opinions on who likes what, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Coke over Pepsi.
Absolutely.
well, I'll let you two talk about that.
Makes a big difference.
I don't know. But anyway, this has been a lot of information. I hope you all have enjoyed it. And if you want to book Rob to come and teach a wine class or a session with you and your friends, the email address is again?
Winelifer, Lifer, @gmail.com.
Okay, Great. And if you can't find him there, you can contact Greg or I, and we'll get him for you.
We'll find him.
Okay, we'll find him for you. But thank you so much for joining us
Yeah,
today.
thanks a lot.
We really appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you.
And it's been a very enlightening little episode here.
I appreciate being
Thank
here.
you all for watching. We appreciate that as well. And we'll see you guys next week with a new guest. Thank you. Have a great weekend,
Thanks, everybody.
everyone.
Have a good weekend.